Hi, I'm Sarah from the Board Game Barbecue, and today I'm looking at a game called Scrap. Scrap is coming to GameFound on or around mid-January. Can't remember the exact date, the 19th maybe. And it's actually been designed by a friend of mine, Kenny Michael Otton. So bias warning, I do think I'm pretty honest with Kenny about his game, and I'm going to be honest with you about it. But just letting you know, I have been helping Kenny with the game, just playtesting. Like I've playtested it a few times, but I've been sort of around since earlier days, not super early, but I've seen the game grow into what it is now, and it's this is still a prototype. It's not exactly how it'll look. It will look a little bit different. The card art in particular is going to be totally different to this, and it's much clearer, and the iconography is clearer as well, so that it just looks fantastic. It looks great, except for the box cover. Kenny's going to hate me for saying that because I say it all the time and he's sick of hearing it, but I don't like the box cover. Anyway, so Scrap is a game that, I'll give you the background. I'm not good with theme, but the story is that there are all these different factions of bots, and they have been called to this planet because of a strange energy source called Celestium, which is this purple energy source here. And basically they want to learn about it. It's really cool because the artwork for the planet is, you can see there was once a robot civilization that was there that was, I guess, technologically advanced or whatever, and was using this Celestium for cool things, and it's all there on the board, and it looks really cool. So I like that kind of old mysterious civilization that's not there anymore, and whatever. So you've all come to this planet. You're all different factions. It's got the great asymmetric faction thing going on, and Kenny has put so much work into making them all feel really different and balanced as well. Even though at first I was like, I don't think Cerebrum's balanced, but now I can see, yeah, they are. I've played them a few more times. I beat them once. Yay, I finally won a game. Yeah, so the factions are all really different, and they're interesting. They've got different kind of starting cards. So the game is card driven. It's a programming game, but it's not, you're only programming 2 cards. So the program is clever because it basically just eliminates AP from the game, because you've already you chose last turn what you were going to play. So it's just a little, it just keeps the game flowing. I think it's brilliant, but it doesn't feel like you're programming a lot and then, you're just flipping over these things and then you're like, I didn't want to do that anymore, and that's programmed. It doesn't feel like that. It just eliminates AP, which is really good. And it doesn't feel chaotic at all. If you did want to battle somebody, or let's say you weren't ready to battle somebody and somebody battles you, you can always bring in people from around the battle, a bit like Blood Rage as well. So there's ways to react to things people are doing, which is really cool. Anyway, so what I was saying about the factions is they're all very different and unique. They've got different cards. They start with a different, there are these 4 sort of tech tracks, I guess you would call them. So there are these different tech tracks. And as you go up these tracks at least once every turn and do the bonus action at the top. And you get to these certain points where you'll actually unlock different level cards as well. So you get more powerful cards as you go along, which is really neat. And you take it from your actual faction card deck. So they are all unique. The abilities, some have special abilities, like the Volcanoes have these Fisher tokens, for example, and they get to put these down, and they stop people from moving around the board, or not stop but slow them, which is really neat. Cerebrum is an interesting faction because they learn from other bots. So they want to be in the same place as other bots, and just by being there they can actually play cards to get data from them, because you're playing for data, you're actually playing for points in this game. You're not trying to eliminate anyone or anything like that. You're trying to go here to learn about Celestium, but why not learn from other bots? Because of that reason, because it makes a really interesting dynamic, because Cerebrum learn from other bots. The other bots don't want to be near them. They don't want to be near them. They don't want to attack them. It's like, no, stay away from those guys, because they're just going to get data just by us all being there. So that's a really interesting element to the game. that you have that dynamic with those guys. So there's all different factions. The player boards themselves are unique. There's different bonuses there for when you take Celestium. There are different bonuses. It has this neat thing on the cards too, where there is like a powered up ability, and that's what it's sort of symbolized by this purple thing, and that's when you can actually spend Celestium to do that ability. Or at the time, if I revealed this yellow card and I wanted to do the power up as well, you can actually discard another yellow to be able to power up that card as well. So it doesn't have to be with Celestium. There's an alarm going, there's a siren going off. Before it was cicadas. I had to time this review so that as soon as the cicadas stopped doing their thing, I was like, right, let's go, let's record. And now we've got a siren. So that's fun. So one of the things that blew my mind about this game, because the first time I played it, when I was playtesting it, there were things I didn't like about it. And one of them was because I don't like card markets that everyone can buy from. Like random card markets. I don't like them. I notoriously do not like them. But it had one of those, and I still liked it. I still liked the game because of the crazy battle system. It's really interesting. It's very opaque. You don't know quite what your opponent's going to go for. You can have a battle with, like, you could have two guys or one guy, like, in the fight, and your opponent has six. And you think, oh, well, you know, I'm not going to get anything out of this. But that's not true. It really depends on what they're doing, because there are 4 different sections, and you're essentially kind of bidding with your bots. You're trying to get majorities. If you get the majority, you get to activate that section of the battlefield. It's really clever. So if you had, you know, your one dude, if you only had one dude and you put him in probe and the other person didn't put anything in probe, you know, or your dude's stronger than the one that he put in probe, then you're going to do the probing. And, you know, you'll get data and things for that, and you get weapons, you're more prepared for the next battle, right? So that's really clever. There's also, you know, you might go into the defense section, the brace section, like brace for impact. If bracing for the fight, you might, you know, be able to defend better, and you might not lose that many guys. And, you know, so there's different stages of this battle, and it's really always just interesting. You're doing this secretly, you're putting your bots everywhere and you're revealing it. And it's really interesting to see who puts, you know, what your opponent's actually doing, because they might surprise you. So I really like that. You can never be too sure going into a battle that you're going to come out on top. And you can math it out quite a bit, but it's still, there's still a bit of opaqueness there, which is really neat. And the game's not all about fighting, and I really dig that too. I think I tend to like these games where, you know, it's opportunistic. It's like, oh, well, you know, I've got these cards and I'm in these places on the board, and how can I get the most points from this turn? Like, you're trying to squeeze as many points as you can in the turn. And there is a tension to this game, because it's first to 50 data triggers the game end. And there's a bit of like a escalation in that too, because it starts off, it feels a little bit slow to begin with. But then there's like, it sort of escalates as you get more bots on the board, you're controlling more areas, so it ramps up, and it ends up, the turns, you know, are a lot quicker. They're a lot more powerful later, so the game goes a bit quicker. So that's really interesting. I really like that. It's just clever. It's a lot heavier than I thought it would be. It has that element of just, it feels nice because you're doing a lot. Like, you get to go up these tracks every turn. It's like you do your card and then you do this, the little bonus action. And I really like that. I think it's cool, because you might have a movement card and then you can't do anything, but then you can use your little bonus to destroy someone quickly, like just snipe somebody and get some data that way. Every time you kill anything, you get data, which is really neat. So that can enhance your turn, and it could be interesting to play them off each other. Or you might just do this at the end of your turn, but you're setting up for your next turn. So you might use this to get energy, so that you've got some energy to use the next turn that you need energy for, like creating bots or whatever. So I really like it. I don't think it, you know, I think that's obvious that I really like the game. And I'm not a huge like if you want to put this in the pigeonhole of dudes on a map game, you know, that's not typically what I like, but this is more media, and you can do interesting things. You can just not battle and just get data, and it just be, you know, as a Euro challenge in that way. Get as, you know, be as efficient as possible, because that's essentially what it is, because it is a race to 50 points. So it's what's the best way to get there quickly. And there's also this neat thing where there's two different kinds of data. There's ones that are on cards, and it's a bit like Eclipse. It's random. There might be, you know, it might be worth 1 point, it might be worth 3, so it's 1 to 3 points. And at the end you reveal and you count up all of those as well. So just being the first one to actually trigger the end game doesn't mean you're actually going to win, because you've got these unknowns as well. So you might go for a lot of those kinds of points instead of just data on the track. It depends, but I really do like the tension that the racing for 50 points gives the game. Like there's a lot of tension in the game the whole time because of that. And I haven't even talked about artifacts. There's artifacts on the board that you can collect, so you like scavenge for these artifacts, and they go on your board, and there's different bonuses. One of those bonuses lets you trigger all of your artifact bonuses again, so if you like time that right, then you can like do some crazy stuff. And yeah, I think that's the main things that I like about the game. Thanks for watching our review and subscribing to our channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope your next game is a sizzling one.